Welcome to Centerpoint's Dive In with Matt and Joe.
In this podcast, we're filling in gaps and diving deeper into topics and passages related to the Sunday messages at Centerpoint Church.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Joe. Let's dive in.
So we are going to dive in to really what is the zenith, the pinnacle of Mark's gospel. Mm-hmm. Like it's all leading here and everything else flows from here.
Yep, that is exactly right.
And so this is the fulcrum point of the gospel.
Everything hangs on this.
Yeah. So we're not gonna read the whole section here, but it's leading up to the confession of that Peter makes on behalf of the disciples that Jesus is Messiah.
Who do you say I am?
Right. That's the ball game right there. Everything rises and falls on that question.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about how we got here. You know, last time we talked about the blind man.
Yeah.
And so it becomes this, you did a great job describing it as the embodied parable of what's happening. But even that plays with us a little bit.
It does.
And so Jesus leads his disciples, he leads them there on purpose to the villages of Caesarea Philippi.
Yeah.
At the base of Mount Hermon. Hermon. As a good Michigander.
Yeah.
Hermon.
And that is selected on purpose with great intentionality. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's doing that on purpose. What is the significance of that area, particularly that mountain, that would make that such an important place to be for this kind of a conversation?
Yeah, I thought you did a beautiful job getting this part of the conversation rolling in your message. So you highlighted some of the important aspects of pagan worship on Mount Hermon, which is in this region. And really this mountain is interconnected to the whole story. And so when in your message, you talked about how mountains are these places where heaven and earth overlap. Right? That's really significant because we're going to go way back in time in the story to Genesis chapter 6 with the sons of God who see and take daughters of men. And then we get the Nephilim. So that's a whole wormhole that we're not going to go down, but I'm drawing attention to it because Jewish tradition held that the location that those sons of God descended from their places in the heavenly realms down to the earth was at Mount Hermon. And so this is marked as a place of not just pagan worship, but also markers in Jewish minds that this was the place of pure spiritual evil.
Right. Okay. So that's representing spiritual evil because that's the picture that we're getting in Genesis.
Correct. Yeah. And then, so Mount Hermon also looks over a region called Bashan. So if you've spent some time in your Old Testament, you've come across Bashan shows up in a bunch of different places. And so Bashan was also associated with this type of demonic activity. Bashan is a region where there's giant clans in the Old Testament. So post Genesis 6, where we see the giants. See this in Deuteronomy chapter 3, the Rephaim and Og of Bashan talks about how great in stature he was.
Yeah, Og. That's the guy I was trying to think of. Yeah. There was the ruler.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is just, it's all of this is coming up online. So we could do like a whole episode just on any one of these things. So we don't have time for that. But it's important to highlight this isn't just, they're in Caesarea Philippi. Okay. Oh, it's Mount Hermon. Oh, okay. Like we got mountains here in New Hampshire. Okay.
Pick one.
This was really significant. All that would have been symbolically uploaded into the mental map of Jewish people and Gentiles who participated in these religious practices. So
that would have been true for the disciples as they're walking along with Jesus.
Yeah, this would have been really highly offensive for them to be meandering through a territory where temple practices, and when I say that, I'm not talking about the temple in Jerusalem. I'm talking about the temple in the ancient world, the pagan temples, blood sacrifices, all of these things happening that were so highly offensive to Jewish people because this was a marker of Gentile worship that's associated with idolatry.
Yeah.
So this is really, really significant. And then this region, this mountain, it's also known as kind of the gateway to the underworld. And so this is where...
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, so this is where the gates of Hades, or some of our English translations talk about the gates of hell.
Yeah.
This would have been here.
Okay.
And so when Jesus talks about the gates of hell, Hades would probably be a more accurate translation there. The gates of Hades shall not prevail against the church. It's not just a cutesy metaphor.
Right.
He's talking literally, he's standing at the location that people believed was a gateway to the underworld.
Okay. Why did they think that was a gateway to the underworld?
Well, this has to do with what you talked about with mountains. So mountains are this overlap of heaven and earth.
Yep.
And so this particular mountain was associated with all this pagan worship. And then there would have been this this gateway to the underworld, and that was really important for certain sacrifices that had to be made.
Okay.
So again, it's like a whole thing unto itself. But suffice to say, it's really, really intentional and really, really important that all of that is happening here. It's like Jesus is taking his finger and just poking at the very heart of evil itself.
And so Mount Hermon was a space that was thick with spiritual implications, none of which are benign, anchoring pagan worship as well as, again, the temple to Caesar.
Yeah.
The worship of Caesar as God.
Which is a whole system. That's an ideological, lived, functional system that is a pecking order of people. It epitomizes see, take, eat, right?
That's exactly right. And so here's Jesus leading his disciples into this space. We've already seen Jesus stand in opposition and authority over the spiritual forces that are animated in religion and in empire. And so it could beg the question, like, who are you to stand in opposition to these are the forces that move the world. Who are you to even dare? And that's then begging the question that Jesus is asking the disciples.
Who do you say I am?
That's right.
And then to have the back part of what you covered then transpire here as well. It's just...
Yeah.
It's so remarkable.
And so Jesus affirms Peter's answer. Peter says, you're the Christ. You're the Messiah.
Loaded term.
Yeah, talk about that just a little bit. Draw us a little bit more fully into the implications of Messiah. Because sometimes that feels like it's removed from us. Like, Jesus Christ, got it, let's move on. But to be the Christ, the Messiah, the anointed one.
Yeah, like the capital A anointed one. Right?
Yeah,
the capital
it came
M Messiah.
preloaded with a ton of expectations.
It really did.
All the way back to Genesis chapter 3.
Correct. Yeah, remind us of that one. That seems really important.
God, in the midst of interacting with the man and the woman about their disobedience, their rejection of his law and love
the consequences and fallout of that.
The consequences of that. He said, one will come from the woman who will crush the head of the serpent, even as the serpent strikes his heel. And so what comes online immediately in the midst of the Lord articulating the consequences of sin and rebellion is also the pathway of redemption, of healing, of restoration, of sin and rebellion.
Yeah, that's so well said. And so then the rest of the Old Testament story and journey becomes waiting for that human one who will come and rescue his
That's right.
people.
And it's layer upon layer upon layer. Okay, so I watched Iron Man the other day. So let's go back to some oldies.
Some good Tony Stark.
Exactly.
Okay.
So he's in the cave and he's making the first Iron Man suit out of nothing, right? But he's Tony Stark, so he does that. And then you see him kind of lay these papers. What he's done is like taken these like really thin papers where he's sketched out certain parts. So you look at any one paper and you don't get a picture of the thing, but then now they lay over each other and you look through them and the whole picture comes together. And we've done that like when we trace things, got that really thin paper. But that's what picture is coming online for me right now. Throughout the Hebrew scriptures, it's like a layer of paper with some drawings on it gets laid down. But when you lift them up and they're over top of each other, you get the whole picture. Like Oh, but we can sometimes say, oh man, Messiah is just an arm. Man, Messiah is an arm. That's fantastic. And somebody else says, Messiah's a leg, a left leg at that. And what happens is the Hebrew scripture actually brings those things together, start now seeing the whole picture.
I love that analogy.
Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes great sense.
Okay.
Do you mind? Could we take maybe a minute or two and talk about, to carry the analogy forward, where we find some of those different pieces,
let's do it.
particularly in people? Because let's not forget, the invitation in Genesis 1 and 2 is for people to join and partner with God to rule over all of creation.
That's right, to exercise God's rule over all of creation.
Right, so this just makes, I'm trying to upload this real briefly. This is why it makes sense that God would become human to rescue us.
He has to.
Yes. Okay.
That's the way.
So let's think back to
But there are pictures
correct
that we get,
Correct.
little Messiah snapshots along the way.
in people who are mixed bags, who are not perfect, but they have these moments of brilliance where they trust.
They do, and then they don't.
Can you think of anybody
Well,
who gives us
I
a
can think
snapshot?
of a lot of them.
Yeah, okay. All right, real quick.
So Noah,
Okay.
so makes the ark. He's righteous. God saves him. Makes the ark, brings other people along. They're saved. Plants a garden, right? Garden, Eden, all that. Takes advantage of the garden for his own benefit. Gets drunk. Ugh, it's not him.
So up until the taking, eating, metaphorical eating, we were seeing these snapshots of, oh, whoa, is he the one that was Genesis 3 promised? Is he the one through whom God's going to rescue humanity?
Oh, no, not
And then-
the one. Right.
Nope.
And then you can look at King Saul. Somebody. Like God, people say, give us a king. God says, okay, there's your king.
Good, I'll put my spirit on him.
But even in the description, he stands a head taller than everybody else. Even if right from the beginning, if you're paying attention, you kind of go, oh, nope. Back out. This is not the one. But you kind of, okay, well, he's the king. Nope, not the one. And then David comes along, and it's like, David must be the one.
David does some awesome stuff
Yeah, man
In
after
faith.
God's own heart.
in faith and trust.
Yeah, he doesn't grasp the throne when it's right there in front of him.
He could kill Saul multiple times.
Yeah,
He
but
doesn't.
This is God's throne to hand to me when he sees fit.
He's
And he
exercising
trusted God.
forgiveness, restoration, wholeness, but then see, take, eat.
Yeah, a woman that kills her husband.
Yep.
And we get a picture of a king that rules
Yeah.
in righteousness.
In a very different way than other kings.
Yeah.
Think about Abraham.
Abraham.
So moments of pure stupidity, lying about who his wife is, taking advantage of other things and other people, but then moments of brilliance of trust. Okay. All right. I trust. The author of Hebrews says he trusted that God could even raise his son back from the dead. And so he offers him up as this sacrifice. God intervenes. Nope, don't do it. But you trusted me.
Yeah.
You trusted me. Okay, so this one who we're waiting for is going to exercise trust, even if it leads to death. Fascinating. Moses offers himself on behalf of the people. They make the golden calf. God says, Moses, I'm going to start over. He says, no. If you're going to wipe them out, then take my name and cross it right out of your book of life. He offers himself up on behalf of the people. Oh, okay. Well, then Moses also fails. Calls them a group of rebels. Hits the rock twice, right?
Yep.
And so in their moments of trust, these are their moments of brilliance. These are all snapshots of what this one, capital O, is going to look like when he arrives on the scene.
Think one of the Ruth and Naomi. is
Oh,
coming to mind.
yes.
You know, it's just this incredible picture of steadfast loyalty. Your people will be my people. You know, and it's just this picture of God's rescue is for all people
It's for everybody.
and being grafted into God's people.
And how about Boaz and his role in that story?
We talk about Redeemer.
Yep.
You know, he was the kinsman Redeemer, and there's a whole lot to that.
Jesus comes through this family, by the way.
Yes.
How cool is that?
Yep. So that's part of the picture. I just lost the name.
It'll come to you.
The woman who hides the spies.
Oh, Rahab.
Rahab. Hello there. Don't mind me. So Rahab
gets grafted in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So all these are layers that give us this picture.
They do. And then we get to Isaiah, and you pulled this out in your message. This portrait of Messiah is he's going to be one who's a conquering king, but he's going to do so by dying. There's going to be nothing about his appearance that draws us in. There's going to be nothing that he does that would go, oh, look at how that person is exercising power. Yeah. Give me more of that, please.
Right. Yeah, that's Isaiah 53. Mm-hmm.
Right, so this exercise is to keep your analogy of if Moses is like the arm and, his moment of brilliance of faith, and Abraham's moment of brilliance is like the leg, and you put all these together and you start to see this sketch of, this is what the Messiah is going to look like.
Yeah, the picture emerges.
Yeah, and so you can just picture this in Jesus' day. The Jewish people are longing and yearning with expectation. Oh, if Messiah would just come, if he would just arrive, he would overthrow Rome.
So you're right. They were feeling the oppression of Rome. Like they were made to be small, not just feel small. So you got this huge, mighty empire.
Yeah, unstoppable.
It is unstoppable. It is a juggernaut. And they are ruling you. You are puny.
And this is your lived experience every day you see Roman soldiers.
The empire mocks you by putting one to rule over you who's only partially your people. Mm-hmm. We're going to call him King of the Jews.
Yeah, puppet king.
Yeah. It's offensive. They're going to tax you into oblivion. So certainly when Messiah comes.
Deliverance.
Yeah.
Rescue.
Yeah.
Freedom.
But it's not looking at the whole picture. He will do those things. How will he do those things? By submitting himself to suffering and death. Because the ultimate enemy is death. And so he gives himself to it.
And Satan and his cronies who wield death as the ultimate instrument to make people fall in line to whatever it is that they need to do.
Sure, it works.
Violence, death, chaos.
And so you've got Peter making this incredible confession. You are the Christ. Nailed it.
Oh, man. Talk about a brilliant moment.
Right? And then immediately on its heels, Peter pulling Jesus aside, going, "Oh, Jesus, you don't understand here. Let me correct you, Rabbi. This is a little bit embarrassing. I'm going to pull you aside, and it's just you and me right now, Jesus. But thank God it wasn't a bigger crowd. Thank God this wasn't, the crowd of 4,000 or 5,000 where you went and said something like this. So let's button it up."
Yeah, because that crowd probably would have gotten pretty angry.
Yeah. So. Whew,
what do you mean you're not going to do the thing?
I kind of saved you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Is Peter.
But think about how much Jesus loved him and loved his disciples and loves us by extension in that moment. Peter says, "You're the Messiah." Ding, ding, ding. But that's preloaded with all sorts of things in Peter's brain.
Yeah.
And
he's not seeing it clearly for what it is.
No, he's like the blind man. I'm seeing, it kind of looks like trees.
They're walking around.
Right. But he thinks because ding, 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 he goes, I'm seeing clear.
Right. That's where this story is so surprising. When you lay the healing of the blind man over it, you're like, oh, Peter saying Messiah, that's the clarity.
Boom.
Everything else, like the prophets, that's the lack of clarity. But now Peter's got clarity. But what you learn is Peter's confession of Messiah. He doesn't have clarity. It's only partial.
He has partial clarity.
Yeah, he's got partial vision. The eyes have been open. He's not blind anymore, but he's not seeing what's true.
He's identified the correct one, but he has not identified the one's way.
Yeah. And
right,
so Jesus is laying out the way.
His love for them in this moment, it's the first time it seems like he's speaking plainly to them. I'm going to be real plain, no parable, no story. Listen, the religious leaders, they're going to kill me. I'm going to rise 3 days later. And they're kind of looking at each other. Wait, can you just tell us a story? Can you just do that in a riddle?
That's right. Let's do a parable now.
That is not what Messiah is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Do the thing you're supposed to do, please.
Yeah, because we're ready for that, Jesus. We're ready. Jesus, you brought us here. Yep, victory. There's Mount Hermon. We're ready. Let's go.
Ride or die, baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, we're with you. Mm-hmm. And then you start pulling out that stuff. Oh, yeah, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it by dying.
What? What?
Totally record scratch. Cosmic record scratch. And even the spirits listening in must be going, that's right. That's right.
But look at what Jesus says to him, right? So he rebukes him. Get behind me, Satan. And then you don't have in mind the concerns of God, but merely human concerns. So it's easy. It's easy to pick on Peter. But like, this is us.
It's so much harder to know that I am Peter. Oh, shoot.
So he's saying, Peter, your ideology and your framework and mindset here is satanic. So it's opposed to the way of God.
Yeah, it's not benign. It is everything that you would expect to come down from Mount Hermon.
Mm-hmm. Power exercise like Hermon. Power exercise like Satan.
We're in the shadow of this mountain where, again, you said Jewish tradition tells us that the spiritual beings came down to wreak havoc and fill the earth with wickedness.
And
we're in the shadow
violence,
of
right?
that space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jesus is saying, you're just like that. Your expectations are doing the same thing.
Yep. You want to see, you want to take, you want to metaphorically eat. You want to do what's right in your own eyes. You want me, but you want to walk in your way of wisdom.
Oh, yes, I do.
And you want me to baptize what you think is right.
Yes, I do. Right? We all have to contend with that.
Right,
because we do that.
We do.
We do that.
We have to contend with this in a personal space. We have to contend with this in a communal space. We have to contend with this in the nations in which we live.
Sure.
Because empire and religion always have programs that they're inviting us into, and their way to exercise power is the way of Hermon, is the way of Satan.
Right, it's the serpent. Genesis 3.
Yeah.
Take it. It'll do everything for you that you want it to.
Right, but think about how sobering this is, because you could even wear the Jesus t-shirt. You could be wearing the Jesus shirt. You could say Jesus is Lord, but you could be walking in the way of the evil one. Like, that's the implication here.
Oh, it absolutely is the implication.
And so, Joe, are you saying like saved, not saved? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way that we function as beings in the world. That we can actually claim Jesus as Lord, but yet live out of that reality in a way that is functionally opposite to how Jesus himself lived and invites us to learn to live. Notice I said learn because I'm learning every day.
As we must. And the learning is a shedding off of, a sloughing off of the scales of the serpent as we take on Christ.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's what we mean by learning. It's a putting off the old self and taking on the new self as a work of God's grace. And I feel like I've been in some version of vocational ministry for about 30 years. And there's always iteration and undulations in how do we do church and how do we do ministry and all that kind of thing. But this whole dynamic got just a head of steam because it's this invitation to do things in ways that aren't the ways of the true Messiah, and so just how I was trained to do leadership. Didn't feel bad at the moment. Everything about it said, this is good. You're gonna grow the church. You're going to get stuff done. You're gonna build the kingdom. I've seen, some churches. I don't even remember a specific one, so I'm not thinking of something specific in my head. But I remember like a phrase like, we're going to win as many people to Christ in a short amount of time. So it's like embracing efficiency and embracing expediency, embracing pragmatism. And in doing so, we actually set aside what it means to be a people in the way of Messiah, version Isaiah 53.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think about just my world, the world you and I live in. We've got to contend with these things.
Well, we do. And I'll speak for me, not for you, but I've participated in those systems. I have believed in aspects of those systems.
Absolutely.
I have been both a perpetrator and a victim of those systems. It sickens me when I think about some of those own things in my own experience and how I was well-intended.
Yeah.
Loved Jesus.
And I think a lot of people are. But
would never want to operate in those systems in the way that I did in the past. I'm thinking about how often, even in pastoral ministry, we can get trained in the ways of the world. But look what we're doing for Jesus. Look what we're doing for him. Yeah, so pastor, get in there. Own that space. Own that room.
Yeah.
Be in control. Be the answer machine.
Actually, I had another pastor use those very words to describe
leadership.
What needs to be happening, in the church.
Yeah, and so
but it sticks to me because I have fear.
Yeah.
I have fear, so I'm just, again, speaking for me, not for you or everybody. There's fear that I won't do it right.
Yeah.
That there's eternal cost. There is God's delight and pleasure. I want to do things that make God pleased with me.
Yeah.
I have my own sense of ambition that influences this. What if I'm not significant enough? What if I don't have enough voice? What if people think I'm dumb, not good enough? Right? So those fears can come online, and that's just my version. There's all these different versions that draw us into the ways of
walking in a way contrary to Jesus.
The ways of Satan. Jesus just comes right out and says it.
He does.
He's not mincing words here. And he's not mincing words with me either. Matt, you want the things, but you go about them the wrong way. How do you conquer your enemies? You forgive them. He's the good shepherd that makes a table before my enemies. He turns your enemies into family and friends. Like the ways that I approach that is putting the enemies in their place. Heidi and I call that comeuppance. So we like a good comeuppance movie.
Yeah.
Problem is I apply that to life too easily.
Yeah, and how easy it is to see and take and eat in our own way, do what's right in our own eyes.
Yeah.
And slap the Jesus label on it.
And so I'm growing in this stuff, and I walking with you in these things. You and I are aligned in our desire to set aside the old self, and
it's hard, man.
We've got a leadership culture here that is setting aside the old self and embracing the ways of Messiah.
Yeah.
On his terms, not ours.
Yeah.
But it's a learning, it's a growing. And I guess I wanted to say that just I want people who are listening to know that we wrestle with this stuff too. This isn't, Matt and Joe are the pastors, and those of you who work in the marketplace, you've just really got to watch out for that. But we've got to figure it out. So we wrestle with this stuff too.
Yeah, the serpent's crafty.
He really is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, well, and I've mentioned this in the past, and I don't want to belabor it, and I really want to be sensitive to. You just mentioned about our listeners, and I really want to be sensitive to. I think there's so much in our day that we're so conditioned to think about things through partisan politic lens. And I think Jesus just has a completely different invitation. The kingdom is so different.
It is so other.
You know what I mean? And so the fact that he is my king is very different than a preference that I might have politically. So I'm prefacing that because sometimes it could probably feel like I'm belaboring this point, but I think in the day and age in which we live, there's so much of this passage that connects with what we see happening, particularly in our own context in America. And there's so many different positions across the political spectrum in our context. And so many of them get on board with violence. Violence is fine. As long as it advances my party's agenda, it's okay. It's okay. As long as we can make sure that we stay in power and other people who we perceive who are the enemies, right? That's going to be dependent on your preferred party. Jesus just invites us into such a different way of thinking about people, thinking about ourselves, thinking about empire, and thinking about his kingdom and how it's breaking in and how we participate in that. That it has taken me many years, and I'm still in process, to disentangle empire and religion in the faith communities in which I grew up. It's such hard work.
It really is, and I'm with you in that. And it's been an untangling for the last 15 years for me. And at times I found it to be as offensive as Peter must have felt offended in that moment.
He had to be offended. He had to be embarrassed. He had to be ashamed.
Yeah. Jesus is clear.
His way is one of sacrifice. Laying one's life down, loving one's enemies is so not what me in my non-Jesus-y side want to do.
But it is available to us by the Holy Spirit.
Because he's made us new. He's raised us to life.
He's made us new. He is making us new, and we will be made new.
And he's brought us into a kingdom family where we do this together. We don't have to figure this out on our own. It'd be way too hard to do on my own.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. This is so sobering, but also so hope-filling.
Yeah, speak to that hope a little bit. What feels hopeful to you?
Well, anytime Peter opens up his mouth, I feel hopeful.
I feel kinship. I'm like, oh no.
Oh, Peter.
Oh Matt.
Peter. Yeah. But I think, you think about Peter's letters later on. 1 Peter, 2 Peter. You see the maturation process in him.
Yeah.
You think about the man that he became. Like, yeah. I think that man was totally fine with these stories being here. I think he wanted them to be here.
Totally.
To be able to go, yep, it was me. Right? Because listen, church history tells us Peter gets martyred by being crucified. And his request was, crucify me upside down. I'm not worthy to die. Crucified like Jesus.
Yeah. And so it became his reality. Yeah. That's the hope, isn't it? That there is something that is true actually now breaking in.
Yeah.
And while it isn't fulfilled now, we get to walk in it. And we get to do so unencumbered by the fear of even death.
Yes.
And a person who is not afraid of death can do anything.
And I love that. I love how you said that, Matt, because that's available to us now. You're not just talking about when we pass from this life into the next.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So our state motto is live free or die. Jesus' way is die and live free.
Ooh. Yeah.
Die to yourself. Take up your cross and follow me.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that on Sunday.
Ooh.
Right? Because it's not just, we might say, well, Jesus, whoa, I get it. That's you.
Go get it.
Right. And Jesus says, hear ye, hear ye. You captured that beautifully, Joe. It's a sobering, but there is so much hope.
Yes, there is.
Frankly, it's the only place of hope.
Because, Matthew, that's where we find our purpose, our freedom, life, healing, everything that we were made for, everything that we want, and yet we chase after and try to find it in all these different places, doing what's right in our own eyes. Man, I have so much to learn.
Don't we all? Thanks, Joe. Thanks for listening in, everybody. And we'll just let that sit and let the journey continue.
Yeah. We'll see y'all next time.